Hello and a very warm welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, when it comes to buying real estate in Spain, the northern part is actually not often talked about. And indeed, there are very few foreign buyers in this part of Spain. However, if you decide to look for property in this area, you will find some lovely places to buy for reasonable prices. Now, unfortunately, some towns and cities were just that bit too expensive to make my top 5 places to buy in northern Spain. Nice places like Bilbao and San Sebastian had average prices of well over 3,000 euros per square meter. And another place I like a lot, Pamplona, prices were nearly 3,000 euros per square meter on average. Now, there were other places too that were also just that bit too expensive or too remote. Now, two places that just missed out were Burgos and Logroño, both lovely places and reasonable prices. So we are talking below 2,000 euros per square meter on average. Anyway, here are my top 5 places to buy property in northern Spain. So coming in at number 5 is Santiago de Compostela. Now, Santiago de Compostela is obviously known as a pilgrimage destination. It is the capital of Galicia, and the old town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now, other than the famous cathedral, which is Spain's most important Christian monument, there are other lovely churches in the city. And Santiago de Compostela is actually a reasonably sized city with nearly 100,000 inhabitants. Now, being a university city, Santiago de Compostela has a very good nightlife. Actually, you will often find young and old congregated well into the early hours of the morning, and the city also feels international in nature. Now, other lovely things about Santiago de Compostela are that you can see many beautiful Baroque buildings. You can visit a number of parks and art centres. And Santiago de Compostela is also quite well connected. It is linked to the Spanish high-speed railway network, and more importantly, it actually has its own airport with direct flights to other European cities, including London, Paris, Milan, Funchal, Brussels, Amsterdam, Dublin, Frankfurt and Geneva. But best of all, prices are very reasonable, so we are talking on average around 1,900 euros per square meter. And in the old town, they're only a bit more expensive at an average of 2,150 euros per square meter. Now, I have to admit, I was expecting prices to be a lot higher in this city, but they are very reasonable. And the only reason Santiago de Compostela didn't quite make it in a higher position is because perhaps some people might feel the city is just that little bit too small. Now, coming in at number 4 is the city of Zaragoza. Now, Zaragoza is an underrated city and is often overlooked as a place to buy property or indeed to visit as a tourist. But this city of over 675,000 inhabitants and the capital of the Aragon region has so much to offer. It is a city steeped in history and has a multicultural heritage and has influences of Roman, Moorish, Jewish and Christian civilizations. And in the city centre, you can find the remains of ancient Roman walls, and you have 2 museums which contain archaeological sites dating back to the 1st century AD. Now, there are some lovely churches, and the biggest draw of all is the Basilica de Nuestra Señora del Pilar. Now, the Fiesta del Pilar is one of the most popular festivals in Spain, and the amazing Basilica del Pilar, Laseo Cathedral, and several other buildings form part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And Zaragoza is also known for its cultural events and gastronomy. It also has a men's and women's football team. And the men's team, Real Zaragoza, actually won a European trophy in the 1990s. And they also have a basketball and handball team. Now, like Santiago de Compostela, it is on the Spanish high-speed railway and has its own airport with flights to a number of European cities. and also Marrakesh in Morocco too. And again here, prices are very reasonable. So we are talking on average around 1,800 euros per square meter. So really good value for money. Now coming in at number 3 is the city of León. Now, many of you may be surprised that I've included León in the top 5, but this city of around 125,000 inhabitants is rich in history and has many historic monuments, which includes many beautiful churches, Roman walls from the 1st century, palaces, and it also has museums as well. Now, the Romanesque church of San Isidoro is one of the most important Romanesque churches in Spain. And when it comes to eating out, most locals and tourists go to the Plaza Mayor. And this square, this beautiful square, is enclosed by lovely Baroque buildings and is in the city centre. And it really is the hub of social activity and you can say the beating heart of the city. And property prices for such a lovely city are really cheap. So we are talking on average only around 1,400 euros per square meter. And even in the centre, prices on average are less, yes, less than 1,700 euros per square meter. Now, of all the places I've chosen, León has the cheapest property prices. And now, as with many other Spanish places, León has its own folklore, customs and festivals, and of course is yet another foodie delight in Spain. And León has its own university as well. Now, although León has its own airport, flights are limited, so you can only fly to other Spanish cities and some of the islands as well. So realistically, you are looking at other airports such as Oviedo and Santander, which are well over 100 kilometers away. That said, León has 2 railway stations and you can be in Madrid in approximately 2 hours. Now, as you can see, and perhaps surprisingly for a lot of you, Oviedo comes in at number 2. Now, with a population of over 200,000, Oviedo is the capital of Asturias and is truly a unique city. The city has many pre-Romanesque churches, which sets it apart from other northern cities in Spain. Now, Oviedo's cathedral is one of the finest Gothic monuments in Spain. And away from the historic centre, there are 3 UNESCO-listed pre-Romanesque churches. And the historic Old Town has a lovely atmosphere with its pedestrian lanes and wonderful architecture as well. But it actually doesn't end there. Oviedo has many other lovely churches, plus noteworthy museums, building an opera house, and lovely squares as well. Now, the city also has its own university, and very important, its own airport. Well, kind of its own airport, as in all honesty, the airport is located 45 kilometers from the city centre. But from this airport, there are flights to many European cities. And Oviedo also has its own railway station. And last but not least, Oviedo is renowned for its gastronomy. Now, one advantage that León has over the other cities that I've mentioned so far is that beaches are basically less than 30 kilometers away. So a nice combination of living in this city and having day trips to the beach as well. Now, given all these advantages, I think prices are very reasonable at an average of 1,650 euros per square meter. And even in the centre, historic centre, 2,150 euros per square meter. So very reasonable indeed. But it didn't quite make the number 1 position. Now, for me, the number 1 place to buy property, as you can see, is Tarragona. Now, situated on the Costa Dorada in the northeast of Spain and with a population of over 130,000 inhabitants, Tarragona for me is the best place to buy property in northern Spain. It has a unique blend of stunning coastal scenery with nice sandy beaches and also historic monuments. The Roman ruins are a UNESCO World Heritage Site, And probably the most impressive site is the 2nd century Roman amphitheatre that overlooks the Mediterranean Sea. It actually once held over 10,000 spectators. And it doesn't end there, as Tarragona has many religious buildings, a noteworthy archaeological museum, and other historical buildings as well. And the modern part of the city has a large port, so good for trade, and a university as well. And Tarragona is yet another Spanish city considered as a foodie heaven. And although nightlife, we have to say, is not the best for Spain, you can head to nearby Salou, where you'll find a nightlife in abundance. That said, though, there are enough bars, restaurants, and also cafes and events as well to keep you entertained in Tarragona. And Tarragona is quite well connected with its own railway station and Royce Airport, which is only about 8 kilometers away. And Royce Airport has direct flights to a number of European cities, including London, Dublin, Paris, Brussels, Eindhoven, and Dusseldorf. Now, for a bigger airport with more flights, you can come in from Barcelona Airport, which is actually less than 100 kilometers away. So that could be another option as well if you want to fly into Tarragona if you buy property here. Now, considering you have so many good things in Tarragona, I think average property prices are really quite cheap. So we are talking on average around 1,700 euros per square meter. I really think that's not bad for a city like Tarragona. Anyway, I'd like to know your thoughts. Do you agree with me for buying property in northern Spain that these are the 5 best cities? Would you have picked other cities? I would love to know your thoughts. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks ever so much for watching this video, and I shall see you soon on the next.